And the last one that's probably had the greatest shaping on me was the XIV trade that I had. Usually, maybe I've worked through it enough. Typically, I can kind of start crying when I talk about it because it has so many different emotions wrapped into it. But it was a planned trade. Like, I was looking for that bottom in the market reversal in late January, and XIV is a vehicle that I've been kind of messing with and trading around a little bit, because if the market's going up, it goes up. If the market's going sideways, it goes up. The only time that thing goes down is when the market goes down hard. So I kind of figured out a rhythm, and it was almost like a little day trading strategy on the side that I'd been just ticking away and adding money to the account, sort of thing. And so it was in January, and I'd had a halfway decent month, but I could tell that the market was rolling over, and then it rolled over, and I took my hands off and I said, okay, I'm going to wait for this thing to settle, to get down to where I think it's finally having one of those capitulation moments. And then I'm going long XIV. Planned it, was ready for it. Got that day. And I felt so good about the trade, but that really wasn't why. I bought an absolutely absurd amount of XIV. I had in my brain that I was going to make $150,000 to $200,000 on this trade. I'm like, I'm going to nail this thing. And it was coming towards the close, and I want to say it was around 90. And I'm buying it in 1,000 shares at a crack. And I buy in 6,000 shares. And then in the aftermarket, just with some little jibs in the first 5 or 10 minutes of the aftermarket, it kind of drops down into the 80s. I'm like, that's weird. That's just, position squaring and stuff. I'm going to buy a couple more thousand. So I get up to like 8,000 shares of this thing at an average cost of, it's probably like 88 and a half. Huge position. Look at that, $700 and some odd thousand. What in the hell am I doing? I mean, my trading account was a lot bigger at that time, but that still was way over half my trading account in one trade. And then I go into the kitchen, and I'm hanging out with my wife, and one of my kids came home or whatever from school and whatever. And then I go back in to kind of just see where it is. And that damn thing's trading in the 30s. And I'm like, what? Something's wrong here. I don't get it. And it just kept dropping. And it just kept dropping. And then it got into the low 20s. And finally, I was just like, I don't know what's going on, but I can't. And I just clipped it all out. $500,000 in an hour. Gone. And I was like, I didn't know. I was like, I just sat there. I was like, numb. Came into the kitchen, stared at my wife, and then just started bawling. She's like, what happened? And I explained it to her, and she was like, why'd you buy so much? And I go, I don't know. I don't know. I know now, but this is the stuff that creeps into our trading. This is hard. We have situations in our life that so devastate us. And what I was doing was I was going to the market and saying, tell me I'm okay. Pay me and tell me everything's going to be all right. That should have been a 2,000 share trade, maybe 1,500 shares. Still the loss, still devastating, still what in the hell, but not $500,000. I so overpositioned, and it was driven by my need for the market to tell me that everything was going to be all right. I needed a win to balance the scales of that other stuff. And I think we do that. a lot as traders. And it's easy to say, yeah, well, just don't do that. Well, we're humans, man. And we are this complex basket of emotions. And our fabric it's just, our emotions are part of the fabric of who we are. And our highs and our lows and our experiences and our joys. And I mean, all of that has emotion attached to it that we bring to the screen every day. Yeah. And if we don't learn how to process through that shit and understand the roots of our triggers and our ticks and what makes us do things in pressurized moments, we're doomed to repeat it over and over and over and over again. So it's still hard for me to talk about. It was 4 years ago. And I used to have a lot of shame with it, which is not a good emotion to have. But I found my peace with it now. But it shaped the living daylights out of me going forward. I mean, I was so scared to take a trade, Richard, it wasn't even funny. I was absolutely paralyzed. And I've been having great success for, 20 plus years. But something about that trade just like so sunk me. Like, what's the point? I thought the market was after. I mean, it was just, you had all kinds of crazy thoughts going into your head. And every single time I sat back down to trade, all I could think about was, I got to get my money back. I got to get my money back, which only led to more losses. And so I quickly realized I got to just stop trading. And I took a week-long vacation out to Colorado and went skiing all by myself. And then came back and thought, okay, that's going to refresh me, and kind of slowly started to get back into things and started having a little bit of success. And then as soon as I felt like I kind of had a handle on things, I just started sizing up massively because that trigger was still there. I got to get my money back. I hadn't accepted the loss yet. Yeah. I hadn't accepted it. So I stopped again, went back out to Colorado, spent another week just breathing through it all and trying to find a way to come to grips with getting back to neutral and accepting that that money is gone. It's not mine anymore, and I'm not getting it back. And this is where I am. And that probably took me another 3 months before I was ready to kind of stick my toe in the water again. It took me a whole year, but I made all my money back. And I didn't even realize it because I'd let go of it. And it was that, like, I was over Christmas, I was like looking at my accounts and whatever, and sort of going back and looking at the P&L for the year. And I think my P&L was like minus $5,000. And I was like, it just hit me. I was like, oh my God, I did it. But it didn't start until I accepted the loss. And I think a lot of us don't accept our losses. Our first reaction is, I got to get my money back. And it builds a lot of really destructive habits.